Episode 402, My AI Strategy Framework.
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI 6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
Many people talk about having an AI policy, but in my experience, the lesser number are talking about AI strategy. But I'm going to share my framework with you today. Hello, and you're very welcome back to AI 6, the podcast that promises to keep you up to date with artificial intelligence, whether it's news, AI model developments, or real-life application of artificial intelligence. A quick heads up before we start. What you're about to hear is audio pulled from my free webinar last week on AI strategy. So if you'd rather watch the full 1 hour replay, the link is in the show notes. In today's show, I'm walking you through the 3-part framework behind any AI strategy that actually works in practice. Know AI, use AI, govern AI. Let's get into it. You know that I talk about the 3 pillars of AI, and this is how I teach it, and this is how I build it. Knowing it, and that's building literacy. Using it, that's building competency. And then governing it, and that's building policy and guardrails. All of these things need to happen. And when you have all of these working, then you are using it strategically. The government released free AI training. I believe there are 4 core modules in there, so they're free to take. The ETBs, the educational and training boards around Ireland, are also offering free AI training. You can even go on to any of the AI models and take their own certificates for free and be qualified in using Claude, for example. And so literacy is really important. But for those of you in a big organization, you should have a literacy plan, okay? Because we need equity in AI as well. And we don't want to train some and not all, because that's not equity, right? Because the people who are trained in AI, what do they have? They've got advantage. Why would we give some employees advantage over others? So we need to be approaching this with equity and access and literacy for all in mind. Then we're creating the value, and that's a very important word. Where does AI bring value to our organization or our business? We start with the problem. So it's problem solution. Problem solution is the approach, not what tool should I use? What's the best AI model? It really is looking at your business and picking off the use cases. And that's what I've done this year. I'm kind of picking off the low-hanging fruit while building GovComms over here. And I've got a tech team building that. I'm directing, I'm testing, but they're building it for me because I don't have the skills at that scale of building a domain expert language model, basically building a mini Claude, right? And so problem solution is a nice approach in identifying where the value is for AI in your organization. And then we have to remain compliant. And I was with a business in County Kilkenny yesterday, and they've got 300 staff, and they're hugely successful, and they work internationally. And there were about 14 of them in the training from IT, HR, production, operations. And I was talking about the impending EU AI Act and that compliance requirements are coming down the track very, very quickly. So there was a trilogue in the EU where the Parliament, the Commission and the Council agreed to delay some elements of the EU AI Act and push it out from August this year to the 2nd of December this year. And so you want to be aware of your compliance needs or what's required of you, your compliance requirements before the end of the year. A couple of things are going to happen. Now, for those of you who are in the UK and in Australia, You also can have a look at your equivalent your equivalent AI legislation and check for compliance. If you don't want to read the legislation, maybe you could get your favorite AI model to interpret it for you, but make sure that you fact check what it's saying. In an Irish context, Ireland is taking over the presidency of the Council of the European Union on the 1st of July, and that runs for 6 months to the end of the year. What does that mean, and why am I bringing it up? Well, it means that Ireland is going to lead the conversation on the European stage for 6 months. It's a rotating presidency. And we do know that the government is kind of putting a flag and a stake in the ground for those 6 months around digital and around safety and around AI. And they will host an international AI summit in October in Dublin. But other things are going to happen. The Ireland's National AI Office is going to open for business in August. And there are a number of competency agencies responsible for enforcement of the EU AI Act in Ireland. And so, for example, for the radio sector that I work with, it is Commission na Man. So depending on what sector you're operating in, there will be an agency of the state responsible for enforcement. So you may find that you may begin to get letters or communications, or there will be public information campaigns around compliance. So we should inform ourselves of what we need to do. So those 3 pillars need to work hand in hand. That's it for today's show. If you're ready to turn these insights into skills, here's how I can help. Get your copy of my book, AI Playbook, on Amazon. It's the perfect companion to the show. For weekly AI strategy, subscribe to my newsletter, Human in the Loop, on LinkedIn. Or if you want to take the next big step, you can take our CPD accredited professional diploma in AI. Maybe you need something more tailored for your organisation. You can book a call in my calendar at digitaltraining.ie. Or if you work in government or public sector, go over to publicsectormarketingpros.com. If you found this episode useful, please share it with a pro that you know. And I'd love to read your comments on Spotify. And if you can, take a second to like, rate, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really helps the show. This is AI6. I'll talk to you on the next episode.